Ladies and gentlemen, in a world that constantly demands more, pushes harder, and rarely pauses, we chase success, relationships, wealth, and approval, often believing these are the keys to happiness, yet we still feel incomplete, like something essential is missing. It is a daily choice, a cultivated mindset, and a deeply personal journey. Gratitude is often underestimated in its power to transform our emotional state and overall outlook on life. When we consistently reflect on the blessings we have, be it our health, family, a roof over our heads, or simply the ability to wake up to a new day, it changes the chemistry of our brain and fills us with a quiet, resilient form of happiness. Moreover, gratitude is not just about major life events or grand gestures. It thrives in the ordinary, the smell of fresh rain, the smile of a stranger, a warm cup of tea, or the comfort of a cozy blanket. These are small, everyday miracles that often go unnoticed. But when we take the time to see and appreciate them, they serve as tiny anchors of joy throughout our day. Cultivating this mindset allows us to extract beauty and meaning even in mundane routines. Suddenly, life no longer feels like a series of tasks and deadlines, but a collection of moments to be savored and celebrated. Gratitude also has the unique power to shift our emotional state, especially during difficult times. When we are overwhelmed with stress, sadness, or disappointment, taking a few minutes to reflect on what we are still thankful for can provide a surprising sense of relief and stability. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it's about balancing the scales. Gratitude reminds us that even in the darkest hours, there is light somewhere. Whether it's in a friend's support, a lesson learned, or the simple act of surviving another day, the shift in perspective is essential for emotional resilience. Furthermore, the practice of gratitude strengthens our relationships. When we express sincere thanks to those around us, it nurtures connection and builds trust. Whether it's thanking a colleague for their help, appreciating a friend for listening, or recognizing a parent's sacrifice, these small acknowledgements deepen bonds. People feel seen, valued, and loved when their actions are appreciated. And in turn, we experience joy from the warmth and positivity that flows back to us. Gratitude is not only a personal tool for inner peace, it's a social glue that enhances the quality of our interactions and communities. Living with purpose is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate lasting joy in life. When we have a clear understanding of why we do what we do, it gives our actions a sense of direction and meaning. Purpose isn't necessarily about chasing fame, fortune, or grand achievements. It's about aligning our daily choices with our deepest values. Whether it's through a career, creative expression, caregiving, volunteering, or simply being present for loved ones, having a purpose gives us a reason to rise each morning with a sense of motivation and fulfillment. It transforms routine tasks into meaningful steps on a personal journey. Many people struggle to find joy because they live without intentionality. They go through the motions, following paths laid out by societal expectations or other people's dreams. But when we pause and ask ourselves what truly matters, what excites us, what we're naturally drawn to, what problems we feel compelled to solve, we begin uncovering our own unique path. Living with purpose often means redefining success, choosing significance over popularity, and placing our time and energy where our heart truly belongs. This sense of alignment fuels a kind of joy that superficial pleasures can never provide. Purpose also has the incredible power to sustain us through challenges. There is a recognition, helping a cause or divination effort during turbulent times. Even when life gets hard, there is a regression that we struggle to greater in heart self. Whether that sense of contribution helps us endure pain with grace, knowing that our struggles are not in vain. Additionally, living with purpose enhances our relationships and the way we connect with others. When we are passionate and intentional, we inspire those around us. People are drawn to authenticity, and purposeful living radiates a kind of energy that uplifts communities. We begin to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals who support our growth and share our vision. This creates a network of mutual encouragement and collaboration, where each person's purpose becomes a part of a greater whole. In this shared space, joy is amplified through a sense of belonging, mutual respect, and collective progress. Letting go of comparison is one of the most liberating steps you can take in your journey toward genuine joy. From a very early age, society teaches us to measure ourselves against others. Grades in school, appearance, achievements, income, even followers on social media. It becomes a habit so deeply ingrained that we often do it without realizing. However, comparison creates a constant sense of inadequacy. It focuses our attention on what we lack rather than on what we possess. Making us feel inferior even when we are doing well by our own standards. Comparison often distorts reality. What we see on the outside, especially in curated social media feeds, is not the full picture. People share their highlights, not their struggles. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's front stage and then judge ourselves unfairly. This kind of thinking erodes self-esteem, sows seeds of resentment, and steals the ability to feel contentment in our own life. When we stop holding ourselves up against others, we begin to see our lives with clarity and appreciation. Our goals become our own, rather than reflections of someone else's path. Freeing ourselves from comparison allows us to embrace our individuality fully. Every person has their own timeline, talents, passions, and challenges. What is right for one person may not be right for another. When we honor this truth, we begin to respect our own journey and progress. We become more attuned to our own needs and desires instead of chasing what others are pursuing. This fosters a deeper, more authentic sense of fulfillment. We no longer feel the need to compete or prove ourselves constantly. Instead, we learn to celebrate who we are becoming. Letting go of comparison also opens the door to healthier relationships. Rather than viewing others as threats or benchmarks, we begin to see them as fellow travelers, each on their own unique path. This mindset shift allows us to feel genuine happiness for other people's successes instead of envy. We stop resenting what others have and start appreciating what we bring to the table. In this space of mutual respect and admiration, connection deepens. We lift each other up instead of tearing ourselves down. And in that lifting, joy finds room to grow. Human beings are inherently social creatures. No matter how independent or self-sufficient we become, the need for genuine connection with others remains a core part of our emotional well-being. Building meaningful relationships provides a foundation of trust, love, and support that nurtures our inner joy. It's not about the number of people in our lives, but about the depth of our connection. When we feel truly seen, heard, and valued by others, it ignites a sense of belonging that no material success or solo accomplishment can replace. These authentic bonds remind us that we are not alone in our experiences. In today's fast-paced, digitally dominated world, many people are connected on the surface but feel deeply lonely underneath. We scroll, like, and comment, but often miss the deeper conversations that bring real intimacy. Building meaningful connections requires intentional effort. Taking time to listen, to check in, to show empathy, and to be fully present. It's about prioritizing quality over quantity. Deep conversations, shared experiences, and vulnerable moments build the trust and understanding that form the backbone of true relationships. When we invest in others with sincerity, we create space for mutual growth, healing, and joy. These relationships also serve as emotional lifelines during life's most difficult moments. A friend who sits with you in silence during grief, a partner who supports your dreams, a sibling who knows your history. These are the people who remind you of your worth when you've forgotten it yourself. The strength of these bonds doesn't lie in perfection, but in consistency and presence. Knowing that you have someone to lean on, someone who accepts you without judgment, fosters a deep sense of security. That emotional safety becomes fertile ground for joy to take root, even in the middle of pain or uncertainty. Moreover, meaningful connections offer opportunities for shared joy, which is often more profound than solitary happiness. These experiences form the stories we connect. Med or morma. Lead, laughter is a currency. It ripples outward, creating a cycle of warmth, understanding, and positivity that strengthens our relationships and enriches our lives. In these shared human moments, we discover some of the purest forms of joy.
Stop sama laba-laba.
Being present is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to discover joy in everyday life. In our modern world, our minds are constantly racing, jumping from one thought to another, consumed by worries about the future or regrets from the past. We often move through our days on autopilot, completing tasks without fully experiencing them. But joy lives in the now. When we slow down and bring our full attention to the current moment, we open ourselves to the richness of life as it is happening. The act of being truly present invites us to see, hear, feel, and appreciate things we otherwise overlook. Practicing presence doesn't require a radical change in lifestyle. It begins with small moments of mindfulness, whether it's sipping a cup of tea, taking a walk, talking to a loved one, or watching the sky change colors at sunset. Presence turns ordinary experiences into sources of wonder. Instead of letting our thoughts drift, we tune in. We notice the texture of our food, the tone of someone's voice, the feel of the wind against our skin. This mindful attention grounds us and brings a sense of calm and clarity. These simple moments, when fully experienced, can provide more joy than the biggest accomplishments achieved in a distracted state. Feeling present also improves the quality of our relationships. When we are truly there, listening without interrupting, engaging without distractions, and responding with full attention, we show others that they matter. This creates stronger emotional connections and fosters deeper intimacy. People feel appreciated and understood, and in return, they respond with openness and warmth. These kinds of interactions not only bring joy to others, but also leave us feeling more connected and full. Presence strengthens the human bond, turning even brief conversations into meaningful exchanges. In addition, presence helps us manage stress and negative emotions more effectively. When we are grounded in the present moment, we are less likely to be consumed by hypothetical fears or haunted by past mistakes. We can observe our thoughts and feelings without being overwhelmed by them. This shift in awareness allows us to respond rather than react. We start recognizing that most of our worries live in imagined futures, not in the present moment. By returning to now, we create mental space and emotional balance. In that quiet clarity, we often find joy, not in the absence of problems, but in the ability to face them with awareness and grace. Prioritizing self-care is essential for cultivating lasting joy because it nurtures the foundation from which all other parts of life grow. Often, in the hustle to meet deadlines, care for others, or fulfill responsibilities, we forget to check in with ourselves. We put our needs at the bottom of the list, believing that rest and self-attention are luxuries rather than necessities. But the truth is, we cannot give our best to others or fully experience joy when we are mentally, physically, and emotionally depleted. Self-care is not selfish. It is an act of preservation that allows us to function at our highest potential and maintain emotional balance. Self-care begins with listening to your body and mind. When you're tired, you need sleep. When you're overwhelmed, you need rest. When you feel disconnected, you may need solitude or meaningful interaction. Ignoring these signals leads to burnout, irritability, and even physical illness. However, honoring them helps restore your inner peace. Simple habits like drinking enough water, eating nourishing meals, setting healthy boundaries, and taking regular breaks are powerful acts of self-respect. Over time, these small practices build a sense of worthiness and stability that allows joy to settle in more easily. Beyond the physical, self-care also includes doing things that feed your soul. It may be spending time in nature, journaling your thoughts, dancing to your favorite song, or pursuing a hobby that brings you excitement. These activities may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of life, but they remind you that you are not just surviving, you are living. Making time for joy, creativity, and relaxation rejuvenates the spirit and brings lightness to your days. When you intentionally choose to make room for joy, it becomes a more frequent and familiar visitor in your life. Moreover, prioritizing self-care teaches others how to treat you. In this way, self-care not only enriches your personal joy, but also elevates the quality of your relationships and the energy you bring into the world. Embracing imperfection is one of the most liberating paths to finding joy, because it allows us to let go of unrealistic expectations and truly accept ourselves as we are. Society often pressures us to aim for flawless standards in our appearance, careers, relationships, and even our emotions. We are constantly bombarded with images of seemingly perfect lives, which can make our own struggles and flaws feel unacceptable or inadequate. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. Life is inherently messy, unpredictable, and filled with both highs and lows. When we accept that imperfection is not a flaw, but a natural part of being human, We create room for compassion, growth, and lasting joy. By embracing imperfection, we also begin to free ourselves from the fear of failure. Many people hold back from pursuing their dreams or expressing their true selves because they are afraid of making mistakes or being judged. But perfectionism is a form of self-sabotage. It paralyzes us with the pressure to always perform and never fall short. When we shift our mindset and accept that errors, missteps, and awkward moments are all part of learning, we become more resilient and more willing to try new things. We stop demanding flawlessness and start celebrating effort, progress, and authenticity. That shift creates space for joy to grow, not through achievement, but through experience. Moreover, embracing imperfection strengthens our relationships. When we stop pretending to have it all together, we give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability becomes a bridge that connects people on a deeper level. We are drawn to authenticity, not perfection. Opening up about our struggles, insecurities, and failures invites empathy and connection. It allows us to build bonds based on truth rather than performance. When we let others see the real us, we feel more accepted, understood, and loved. Not for who we pretend to be, but for who we truly are. This kind of connection fosters a deep, fulfilling kind of joy that surface-level perfection can never provide. Lastly, accepting imperfection helps us live with greater peace and gratitude. When we stop chasing an unattainable ideal, we begin to appreciate the beauty in what already exists. A slightly messy home filled with laughter, a body that carries us through the day despite its flaws, a life with both joy and sorrow. These are all testaments to our humanity. By recognizing that we don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, happiness, or success, we reclaim our power. We begin to find joy not in reaching some impossible standard, but in fully living, breathing, and embracing life as it truly is. In the end, finding joy in life is not about chasing after something far away or waiting for a perfect moment to arrive. It's about recognizing that joy is already present in the ordinary, in our choices, in our relationships, and in the way we see the world. When we practice gratitude, live with purpose, release comparison, connect deeply with others, stay present, care for ourselves, and embrace our imperfections, we begin to uncover a deeper, more enduring joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's a joy that grows quietly but powerfully within us, guiding us through both the bright and difficult seasons of life.